Hi guys, welcome to another one of my videos. I just want to apologize right away for the crazy look. I ended up with strep throat right after my competition, and let me tell you, it's been absolutely insane, but still dedicated to making a video for you guys. I have gotten a plethora of new books. Getting into the book talk hype is Shield of Sparrows by Davini Perry. This book has been all over my book talk. This book kind of gives me these vibes that I get in a lot of the anime and mangas that I just absolutely love to read and watch. There's this girl, she's a princess, and she doesn't want to be a princess, doesn't like being a princess, doesn't like everything that comes with being a princess. And yet that's just the role that has been put on her, and she accepts it even though she doesn't love it, although she has a sister who does absolutely love being a princess, and she revels in everything that there is to be a princess. Then a guy comes along and he's like a king or a prince of another realm, I'm assuming, and there ends up being like a political marriage between the two of them, and then she's taken away to his kingdom where she has to survive. And apparently there's monsters in here too that show up every once in a while to remind the humans that they need to respect the deities of the land. And I was like, yes, this totally sounds up my alley. We're going for it. Okay, for any of you who's been part of my channel, maybe you have watched some of my 24-hour reading vlogs. I started a new series. My husband was the one that actually found it. He was drawn in by the cover of the book, and that's this one. This is Queen of Blood by Sarah Beth Durst. And then just recently, they had book 3. This is The Queen of Sorrow, and this is the third and final book of the series. I am currently doing a 24-hour read, and this is going to be on that video, and it'll be coming out sometime in September. So if you're curious about all of my thoughts, definitely be looking for that video. So I don't want to get too much into it because this is book 3. But I will say that this series is all about these spirits that kind of run the earth, right? And then you've got us normal humans. We don't live in like houses and with like roads and things like that. We live in the trees and the forests, and we kind of make the trees and the forests and things like that our home. And the spirits are the one that helps build that. But the spirits also hate humans, and if they had the chance they would kill humans. And so there is one human queen, and it's her job to kind of keep all these spirits in line. She has the power over them to tell them what to do, what to build. Like if a new town needs to be built, she can have the spirits build a whole new tree town, right? And it's her job to keep them in line. And if for whatever reason, if a queen should die, then the spirits go into this hibernation where they hibernate for like 3 days. And in the process, they bring what's called the heirs, which are all of these women who also show signs of having the same power, who've been trained in these schools, into a field at the end of the 3 days. And then the spirits will choose a new queen. It always got to me because like, in a way, it's like the spirits hate humans. They hate the queen. If they had the power to kill the queen and be free and just kill all the humans, they would. But yet at the same time, they're the ones that have to choose the new queen when the old queen dies. It's an interesting cycle. So because I was loving Sarah Beth Durst so much, and I have been hearing how she had another series out there, immediately had to go and pick it up. So you've got book 1, which is called The Spell Shop. This follows a girl named Keela, I believe is how you say her name. And she basically is just almost like a librarian in a way. And she has a sidekick as a spider plant. I'm assuming, because again, I haven't read the series yet, but I think the spider plant can talk. And so they're kind of companions. And then this war happens and the library gets destroyed. And in order to save as many of the books and as much of the knowledge as she could, her and this spider plant take all of these books and run away, and they hide out on this little island. And there she ends up opening up her own spell shop. And even though she could get in major trouble if she's ever found out, because it's highly illegal, she helps people in this island with problems that they have. This is going to have more of a romance setting. It's still going to be fantasy, but I think it's going to have a little bit more of a romance setting. It sounds like she ends up retreating to this island, which I believe was her hometown a long time ago. And she has this nosy neighbor that he keeps coming and checking up on her and making sure that she's taking care of herself and feeding herself. And he's helping her fix up her home. I believe there's going to be like a romance that ensues between the two of them, so I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know, maybe I'm being presumptuous, but it just sounded amazing. And so then I got book 2. There's only 2 books in the series. It's a duology. That is The Enchanted Greenhouse. But this book follows Terelu. That's how I'm going to say her name is. And apparently a long time ago, she broke the law and ended up getting cursed and turned into a statue, where she was left in a garden for a really long time. And then something happens. Somehow the curse gets broken, and she wakes up in this like garden oasis in this beautiful greenhouse, where she meets the gardener, the caretaker for this greenhouse. And then she notices that the things inside this greenhouse are mysteriously dying. And so with the help of the gardener, they uncover this plot and this evil sorcerer and set out to save all the flowers and things inside the greenhouse. So it sounds like a really sweet tale full of romance and mystery. Both of these books sound really good, and I can't wait to get into them. Next, and I'm not going in any particular order of when I purchased these books or anything like that, just so you know. I've got all of the books that I bought off on the side, and I'm just grabbing and going. So there's no order to any of this. I ended up buying Light Lark. Now, this was interesting because I was at Walmart, and I had my daughter with me, and it was her birthday, and we were just looking around at books. And I happened to be talking to her about this one, and I was like, you know what? A lot of people are talking about this book, and everybody wants me to try it. I'm just not sure if I want to try it or not. And there was a lady behind me also looking at books who had heard me, and so then she like immediately started talking to me, and we just immediately built this like little friendship over books, and we just got talking about everything. And apparently this is a series, she has a whole series, and she says that she absolutely loves it, that I would not regret purchasing it. And so after like an hour of just standing there in Walmart talking, I picked up this book. In this world, every 100 years, this island appears called Light Lark, and it remains for 100 days, where a ruler from each of the 6 realms has to participate in these said games. And apparently, I guess all the realms are cursed, and so they fight in order to have a chance to break their curses and get immense power. And I'm assuming that only happens if you win the games. In order to win, someone's got to die. They're all out to win it, so they're all going to be manipulative. They're all going to have secrets and plots and things like that. So that's pretty much all I know about this book. When I was talking to the lady, she didn't give too much away. She said, I really need to go into it as blind as possible. And she's like, it's so worth it. It says, to survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, betray, even as love complicates things. So my guess is that she's probably going to fall in love with a guy who is probably a ruler from one of the other 6 realms. It sounds really good, and it had really high praise, so I went ahead and picked it up. Moving right in, another book that I purchased at Walmart, specifically just because I absolutely loved the cover of the book, is Night Weaver by R.M. Gray. This, completely drawn in by just the cover and the pages, the sprayed edges. It actually says, I will not let them take me. A long time ago, this group of people called the Night Weavers pretty much came in and took over the whole realm. They pretty much run and operate everything. And then you have this little girl whose family, they were basically pirates, and they lived out on the sea, and they did everything in the sea until something happens and her brother dies, and they end up on land under the sanctuary of none other than a rich night weaver. They're hesitant because he is like the right hand man of the evil prince of this world. And so they're hesitant, but they really don't have any options. And as she gets to know him and he gets to know her, she sees this side to him that he's actually really kind, really caring, and they kind of start falling for each other. And she starts to learn that there are other monsters in this world that are way, way worse than the Night Weavers. And everything that she had been taught to believe and to know ended up not really being the case at all. It sounds really good. It's full of magic and adventure and mystery and everything that I love in a book. Okay, I know I said I needed more fantasy romance books, but I could not pass up a Lucy Score book. If you guys have been following my channel, you know I love Lucy Score. So, Things We Never Got Over. When she first made this, I don't think she had planned on this being a series, because like when you open the book, it isn't even part of any of her, because you know there's like also by Lucy Score, and it shows her series and the names under the books. But this is actually part of a series. This book sounds like my kind of messy. So it starts out with this girl. Her name's Naomi. And she's running away from a fiance. She's running away from a church of well-wishers. She has a twin sister, and she ends up running away from her life to go help her sister, thinking things will be okay. And what does her sister do? Her sister, wanting to run away from her life, takes the leftover cash that Naomi had, takes her car, takes everything, and then just takes off. And not only does she just take off, she ends up leaving her daughter with Naomi. So now Naomi has this 11-year-old little girl that she has to take care of. No job, no life, no nothing. So in swoops in a bartender who's like, I don't want to get into this mess. I don't like drama. You know, he knows that she's a runaway bride, right? Like this has got mess written all over it, but he can't seem to resist. He wants to help her. And so that's exactly what Knox Morgan does. He ends up helping her. And this book sounds like an amazing type of messy that I love. I loved The Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts. That movie was just, oh man, I loved it. And this is kind of giving me some of those runaway vibes, Runaway Bride vibes. Although I don't think she had 5 fiancés. Like Lucy Score does not disappoint, you guys. She doesn't. And this is going to be a type of messy that I think I'm just going to absolutely eat up. I loved the cover, and that is Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Death Waits for No One Except Her. This sounds like such a good book. Like she, literally, I think, okay, and again, I haven't read it, so I don't really know, but I genuinely think that Death himself is the MMC in this book. Okay, I am here for them dark vibes, okay? And I guess, like, she almost feels like she's cursed because everyone that she's ever had in her life have all died, all perished. And so she ends up with these, like, elusive, far distant family members with a relative who is mourning the death of his wife, and he's got this son who's grappling with trying to keep the family name and the estate, you know, in a running order. And then I guess his mother starts hunting the FMC Cigna. I don't know. And like somehow Death is involved, and somehow she learns that, I think she is trying to get, or like Death's helping her try to figure out the mystery of this haunting. I don't know. But it sounds like Death has been involved in her life for a long time. Yeah, there's a lot of mystery behind this book. Next, we have A Tribute of Fire by Sarah Wilson. This one has got another type of, like a games sort of thing. Every year, this realm, this world, offers a sacrifice to the gods in order to stay prosperous. And so a girl gets chosen, and she gets sent out to pretty much just to die. She has to, it's like a death race where she has to reach the temple. and ends up, I'm pretty sure every person that has been sent out dies. Like, you know, they're sacrificed. Nobody's ever made it to the temple. She's hoping that if she can win these trials, that her kingdom will no longer be cursed and they can prosper and stuff. And so she gets help with a pirate. They don't really like each other, but she knows that she needs him in order to try to survive. And I'm thinking that it's going to be about their romance. And it just sounds like a really good book with a lot of adventure and a lot of trial. And it's definitely going to be cool. Moving right along, I then bought Beneath the Hood. This is book 3 in the Sugar Lake series by Emily McIntyre, and it's actually a really good series. It kind of gives an air of light and fluffy, but it's very deep, and these books talk about traumas and addictions and things like that, so definitely check your trigger warnings because it delves very, very heavily into all of that stuff. I know Jackson Rhodes. I love him from the first 2 books. However, this seems to be a very much older relationship sort of thing. Like, I think he's like 12 years older than her or something like that. He's got to be in his late 20s and she's like barely 18 or something like that. So he's definitely older than her. I'm not usually a fan of that trope, to be honest. As an adult who has kids of her own, it gives me a giant ick factor, but I do love Jackson Rhodes. He's one of my favorite side characters from the first 2 books, and the guy does deserve his own happily ever after. He deserves to be happy, and I kind of feel like if I don't read his story, it's like his story is going to be forever unfinished, at least in my heart. And so that's part of why I want to give it a chance, so I went ahead and picked it up. Next on the list, we have Riftborn by Greenwick and Lennox. And this book just sounds like it's going to be a good time. Fia has these powers that she has kept hidden all of these years, because if anybody found out that she had the powers, she would be put to death. Okay. And something happens. She ended up using her powers and she gets caught by a general. And this general is been building an army of really strong supernatural people in order to fight these monsters of the realm. And he makes an agreement with her that he will keep her secret if she joins his army. And it sounds like really good, although I am curious how her joining a supernatural army that obviously can't be a secret is keeping her powers a secret. So I have questions, but I'm intrigued. I'm very, very intrigued. I feel like there's definitely going to be a lot of love tension. And I believe Riftborn is supposed to, Riftborn is part of the Esprithian trilogy, and this is book 1. Book 2 isn't out yet, and so far that I know, there is not even a whisper on when book 2 is going to come out. So, yeah, I might actually get into a book in a series from the beginning. Because right now, in a lot of these series, I feel like I'm playing keep up. I'm pretty sure several of these books that I've already mentioned, people have already read and talked about on their YouTube channels like years ago. I'm behind, but it's okay. It's okay. You know what? Maybe, just maybe, you'll watch this video and go, you know what? I haven't read that series in, gosh, 2 years. You know, I think I want to pull that out and read it again. So if you do, you're welcome. Okay, moving right along, the next thing I did is I bought 2 new books by Hannah Grace. These are the Maple Hills books. And I already read Icebreaker and absolutely loved Icebreaker. You know, I love a good hockey romance. So the first book, Icebreaker, reminded me of that movie. He was a hockey player who's kind of playing on being on the ice to help her, and they have this whole romance that happens and stuff. And then these 2 books, it seems like it's going to be about other members on the that were on the hockey team, and I know both of them from just reading book one. So I'm actually really excited to get into both of these guys' story, and they are both such sweet guys, and I am definitely looking forward to getting to see their happily ever afters and who they meet and fall in love with. So I was hoping to get to this book in August because it definitely gives me summer vibes because they're off at a summer camp. Yeah, I was hoping to get to it this summer, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Again, just another series that I'm trying to get through. It's a theme in this. It's a theme, guys. It's a theme. Then we have On Wings of Blood. I am really, really looking forward to reading this book. I read the other series by Briar Bolin, and it's one of my favorite series of 2025, and that was following Morgan. But it really made me want to read this. And it sounds like there's going to be like dragon riders and stuff like that. She ends up going to this academy. So it's got an academy setting. She's supposed to be like the last dragon rider, or like the first that they've seen in a really, really long time. So she's got these special powers. And so she ends up at this academy where she is under the surface of this particular powerful vampire. And it kind of ends up just being about the romance between the two of them, and her learning her powers and her unique abilities and stuff. I am kind of curious though, because her name is Medra, and there in the series before this, there was a Medra. Something happened to that Medra, so I don't know. And we're gonna get to see some of old characters from that series make a couple debuts in this series at some point. So I'm very, very curious, and I'm excited to get back into this world with this author because she is very good, and she does a very good job of telling her stories and leaving you in suspense and on the edge of your feet. And so I can't wait to get into this book again, starting of yet another series, because this is a series. This is the Bloodwing Academy series. Another book I'm really excited to get into is Metal Slinger. And I've heard people raving about this book as well, and it just sounds really good. It kind of, the way I'm understanding it is you've got kind of like these two kingdoms, and there's this one group of people who are kind of stuck on this island, and that's kind of just where they have to stay. Once every year, they get this opportunity to leave their island to come to the market on the mainland and do shopping and things like that. And there's this girl who has been working hard and training to be able to become part of the guard that is allowed to leave the island and go to this market because she wanted to leave the island. And while she's there, a bunch of things end up happening, and so she ends up on this just wild journey that tests her, and she starts learning all of these truths about who she really is, and all of these secrets are uncovered, and there's gonna be this romance between her and I believe the soldier, and it just, again, full of adventure and suspense. And apparently this is a part of a series, the Fire and Metal series, and this is book 1. And I don't have book 2. I don't think book 2 is out. At least I haven't heard anybody talking about it. So, but yeah, it's definitely, it sounded really good. And so when I saw it at Walmart, I had to pick it up. Okay, another book that people are raving about. So when I saw it, I absolutely had to pick it up. And that is A Fate Eaten in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. And this one, the cover looks incredible for one. I mean, just look at that. Her husband ends up betraying her to a jarl of a neighboring kingdom. So she ends up having to do this like fight to the death against the jarl's son. In order to survive, she ends up having to use some of her secret power that she was trying to keep hidden. The jarl, realizing how powerful she is and not wanting her to take claim to his throne or anything like that, he binds her to him with a blood oath and forces his son to guard her to keep her safe. And so she's forced to train and to fight and to become stronger and to learn how to use her power. And she's doing this all while she is being tested by the gods. And so she's also having to, they keep testing her, and she keeps having to fight these tests and also at the same time fight her attraction to the Jarl's son, and which she's proving to be, like, I guess, impossible. Sounds really good. In fact, it sounded so good that I had to pick up book 2 of the series, and I haven't even read book 1, but now we have book 2 as well. And look at the shiny, edges. I like it. Although it sounds kind of, the pages are kind of stuck. Hey, it's gonna be kind of nice because then I can just read this one and then go straight into this one. No waiting necessary. Okay, I'm thinking ahead. And my books are starting to pile up over here. Okay, and then I started adding on to some more of my series, even though I still have some to read. Oh, a little while back, I read Flawless by Elsie Silver, and so I ended up picking up book 2 in the series, which is called Heartless. This is the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. Such a good, book 1 was absolutely incredible, and I love book 2 as well. The series is kind of reminding me of a long time ago when I first started reading Sandra Brown books. She had a series that it was my first introduction into cowboy romance, and it was a really, really good book. I own them still. I still have the originals, but they're in storage in a big old tote, and so, like, I don't have them on me. But they were such good books, and this series is giving me my childhood vibes. It's kind of heartwarming. It felt like reading it felt like coming home again. I've got book 2 of the Chestnut Spring series, and I'm really excited, and I can't wait to get into that. There's definitely more, and I will be finishing the series at some point, but right now I just got this one. And then for August, I kind of wanted a fluffy read. I have my TBR books, but I kind of feel like most of them had absolutely nothing to do with summer, and I definitely wanted to read a book that gave me heavy summer vibes. So I went with another one of my favorite new authors for me, and that's Emily Henry, and I picked up Beach Read. And this one was definitely giving me summer vibes, and I have told myself that this book is being read this month. It's going to be a good way to end summer by reading a summery book. You got an author of literary fiction, and then you got an author of romance books, and they're like polar opposites, and they have like nothing in common except they're each renting a beach house right next to each other for 3 months during the summer, and they both are suffering from a serious case of writer's block. And so they decide that a great idea to get rid of their writer's block is basically to swap. Now suddenly he has to write something happy and warm and romantic, and she has to write great American novel. And so they take each other on these adventures. So she takes him places that will help with his creative brain on writing a romance book. Like, you know, this is what you should do. So she probably takes him on dates and stuff like that, right? And then he takes her to interview other people and things like that so that she can get an idea of his area. And so then these two just come together, sharing both of their worlds with each other, and a romance ensues from this summer vacation in writing. Then next, lo and behold, I have all these series that I have to start and haven't finished. So why not buy book 1 in yet another series? Because why not? Why not? It is the mantra of 2025. And this is book 1 in the Broken Kingdoms, Curse of Shadows and Thorns by L.J. Andrews. And this one sounds really good. So, a rebellious princess, a cursed rogue, a forbidden love that will bring a kingdom to its knees. Bum, bum, bum. So, it sounds like she enlists the help of a dowry negotiator. She puts in the hopes that he can help her somehow save her ill father from her evil uncle. Pretty soon, a bunch of things ensue, and they end up a whole bloody coup happens, and then the kingdom is just left in shambles, and she's forced to flee, and she runs away with this dowry negotiator. And then, of course, a whole war between mortals and magic ends up ensuing. In order to protect her kingdom, she's forced to have to pick a side. Does she stand with her people who stole the throne? Or does she stand with this man who lied his way into her heart. And it sounds really good. I say that about every single book. I feel like I could be turned into a drinking game. Every single time she says it sounds really good, take a drink. But I can't help you guys. All of these books sound good, which obviously is why I picked them, right? However, I did want to make a quick mention about The King of Wrath, book 1, which is on my August TBR to read. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because they just so happened to have book 2, King of Pride, at Walmart, and it was the only one there. So like they had the whole series lined up, and most of the series had like a bunch of the books still available, but this was the only book 2 that they had. And so sometimes, honestly, because Walmart can take forever to restock their books, when I know that's a book that I want to read and they only have one of that series, I'm like, I should pick that up, because who knows when it's going to be back. They're complete opposites, and yet definitely just like they're so attracted to each other. He's a billionaire. She's a party girl. There hasn't been a party or a man that she hasn't been able to ensnare, and till they're constantly butting heads. And so I don't know, it just sounds like it's gonna be fire and smoke and a lot of tension, and I'm here for every single bit of it. For the first time in a long time, I picked up a Nora Roberts book. Oh my gosh. I own every book she's ever written as Nora Roberts. She has another persona name that she uses for just thriller books, but I'm not into thriller, so I've never read any of those books. But I love Nora Roberts. And in that ginormous tote that I talked about, I have several of them in my storage, I have the original works of every book she's ever written in their original print in the year that it came out. Yes, I'm old. Anyways, I love Nora Roberts, and I love everything that she writes. She's so magical. Like, Nora Roberts is, if I could name an author out of every author that I have ever read in my entire life, Nora Roberts is my number one. She is on my bucket list to actually meet. If I could meet Nora Roberts, it would be like the biggest success in my life. She has gotten me, her books have gotten me through so many tough times in my life. I had a hard childhood. It was rough. And there were times that all I had was a corner of my little closet space and a Nora Roberts book to get me through the suffering that I was dealing with. And someday I would love to be able to meet her in person and thank her. She changed my life, and she's why I want to be an author and why I want to write books. And I love her storytelling, and I love how she doesn't skimp on her words. She is so smart and intelligent, and the words that she uses, she doesn't skimp on any of them. She just full on, boom. She's just like literature bombing you, and I love that. And I love how she uses lore from all sorts of different things and integrates them into her stories. Eventually, when we move and we buy a place and I can build up my library and get all my books out, I will be doing a whole dedicated video on nothing but Nora Roberts books and my guide into what books I think that you guys should start with if you've never read a Nora Roberts book. But again, I could rant and talk about her all day. But I just saw this book called Mind Games, and it sounds amazing. Her and her grandma have this ability to see inside people's minds and into their souls. And sometimes they can even see the future. But when she was younger, she had this dream, and she saw her parents murdered. Eventually, with helping to aid the police, they find the man and they put him in prison. He's still been connected to him this entire time. And he, of course, knows this because he can sense her. And then, of course, because he can sense her, he's made his mission to get revenge on her for putting him away. And then the whole love interest, because, you know, her books have thriller, mystery vibes, but also romance. She's a video game designer. He is a lead singer in a band, and so there's definitely going to be sparks flying there. I'm never disappointed by a Nora Roberts book. It definitely gives me romance, but then it's different. It's not just a cute, fluffy romance, and it's not romantasy. It's like a thriller romance, and both her and Sandra Brown do thriller romance so well. And if you've never read a good thriller romance, you guys should genuinely check out Nora Roberts' books because she's really good at them. Then I went ahead and I picked up another book. It's a series that, I didn't start out for it to be this way. I had read it in my first 24-hour challenge, and then it's kind of become a thing because I read book 2 in my second 24-hour. I'm planning on reading the third one in this 24-hour challenge. So I went ahead and I picked up book 4 in the Blue Moon series, and this one's called Not Part of the Plan by Lucy Score, and I am absolutely loving the series. I'm on book 3 right now, and the tension, I'm eating it up. It's called like The Last Second Chance. And I have been looking forward to Jackson and Joey's story since book 1. And so the fact that I'm getting to read it now is great. And then I still get to see tidbits of the lives of the other 2 characters from the other 2 books. So I still get to see them and get to have my pieces of Beckett and Carter and Summer and Gia. And it's just, yes. And so I'm looking forward to this. This has Gia's sister, Emma, in it, and it has Nico, which is a photographer that I got to meet and was introduced to in book 1. He's a friend of Summer's, and he's just a really quirky photographer guy, and I can't wait to see these two butt heads and see how they come together and everything like that. The way I'm understanding it, supposedly the Beautification Bureau, which is just like this group of bored women who like to put people together, but they also happen to have a 100% success rate. So like if they think that you belong together, you guys will inevitably end up together and married and having a family. But apparently they don't think that Nico and Emma belong together. They think that they're a bad match, that if they get together, it will be destructive. So I'm going, a couple going against the Beautification Bureau? Sign me up. I gotta read it. I picked up Savage Hearts. Now, this is book 3 in the Queen and Monsters series, and very good mafia romance books. I've read 2 of them so far. They so good. I'm trying to remember how many there are. There's like 4 or 5 in this series, and maybe even more than that. Just another series that I've got written down somewhere, because at this point I'm going to lose track of all my series if I don't, because there's just so many of them. But I love them. I'm curious as to what's going to happen. In book 1, you had Natalie. Book 2 was Sloane, and they're best friends, and in their stories they basically fall in love with polar opposites. Like the 2 guys are like at war with each other. There's some tension going on there, and the 2 girls are trying to get the guys to work through it, because they're so close. They're like sisters, and they want to remain together. So they're trying to get the guys to get along, but there's definitely some animosities going on there, and some decisions were made at the end of book 2 that had me going, uh-oh. So I really want to know what happens. So then in comes book 3, which is supposed to be about a girl named Riley and a bravada assassin. Yes, this is going to be really good, really, really good. And I can't wait to get into Riley's story and hopefully hear a little bit more about what's going on with Sloane and Natalie as well, because those poor girls. I mean, the guys loved them and would give them anything. If they could rope the moon and the sun together and hand them to their women as gifts, they would. So but the feud between the two of them runs really, really deep. So it's not going to be an easy road for sure. But if anybody can do it, Sloane and Natalie can for sure. Then of course I bought book 4 of the House of Devils series. I've only read book 1, but oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get into the others. It's just, I've got so many books and so many series and so many things that I'm trying to do that I just haven't got a chance to get into book 2 yet, especially. And they're thick books, and to be honest, as much as I love them, I just have not been in the mood for a big, thick book lately. I mean, keep them small and you know, within like 400 pages. It has nothing to do with this series. Book 1, so much happened in that book. It was an ongoing ride that like never stopped. Roller coaster that never stopped. And I absolutely loved book 1. And I have the other 2 books, and this book just came out last month. Oh man, yes, it's a series that I'm definitely hoping that I'm going to have read and finished by the end of the year, hopefully. But basically, it's about this girl who almost got kidnapped, but her friend got kidnapped in her place. And in order to find her friend, she gets the aid of the leader of the devils, and he was tasked to actually bring her in, but instead he ends up helping her and being her bodyguard, and they end up working together, and then this whole dynamic ensues between the two of them. And oh my gosh, Darian Castle, I love him. He's on my book boyfriend list. Like, oh, Darian is a tortured soul that I just want to hug. He's been through a lot. And then when I was at PopCon, which just happened last weekend, and it was a lot of fun. We got to compete and perform and stuff. I like going there and talking with book authors and supporting local authors and things like that. And there was a woman there named Kissa Murrin, and she had a book series that I wanted to give a try. And I'm saving this one for October because it seems like it definitely got October vibes. And this one's called Escaped from Rage. And this is book 1. It sounds so good. It sounds like her husband is like this murderer who killed his parents, so her in-laws, and she almost died as well. So the minute that she gets out of the hospital, she runs away and tries to start a whole new life. But then a series of events happen, and she runs out of money, and all these things happen, and she realizes the only way that she's ever going to be free is by fighting back. So she chooses to get a divorce, stop hiding, but he's very powerful. He ends up using his resources to find her. She has to make a choice, face them to protect the people that she cares about, those who've helped her along the way, or just allow them to suffer her husband's wrath. Just when she thought she'd reached the key, he changed the lock. There's a movie that I think Jennifer Lopez played in that was called Enough. And I'm kind of getting vibes off of that from this book and the way she was talking, the author was talking about it and stuff like that. She even signed it for me. And so she signed it right here for me. And it says, "I hope you fall in love with this series." And I got a cool little special bookmark with it too. So I get to keep the little special bookmark with the book. So I just love supporting local authors. There was another book that I wanted to get that sounded really, really good, but every single time I would go there to get it, the author would have stepped out. She had to go get lunch, had to go to the bathroom, things like that. So I never actually got a chance to actually purchase the book. So I was like, man, hopefully she'll be there next year. I'm going to end with the last book that I purchased. And this one, again, is another one that the picture drew me in. And this one's called Firebird by Juliet Cross. And look at that cover. I mean, wow. And then look at the sprayed edges. Like, it's got like a dragon on it. This book sounds incredible, by the way. He's a Roman general, and he falls in love with this woman who comes to the kingdom and dances. She's just like this beautiful dancer, and he just immediately falls in love with her. But then she disappears. She's gone. And then years go by, and he ends up on this battlefield where he sees her fighting, and he immediately knows that he needs to protect her, that he needs to keep her safe. So he exposes his biggest secret. He's a dragon shifter. He doesn't care about anything else other than keeping her safe. Both him and his dragon know that she belongs to them, that she is their everything, and that he needs to protect her. So right there on the battlefield, he shifts and he protects her, and then they end up working together and fighting together, and all of these things ensue, and it's just, oh man. His movements were fluid, a hunter's steady progress toward the awaiting prey. His face was steeped in shadow till he passed a torch. I sucked in a breath. His face was too hard, too sharp, too arresting. His maker had cut him with an unforgiving blade, molding him into a beast of unquestionable dominance and terrible beauty. He stood off to the side of the front row, his dark gaze sweeping the audience. The gusting torch flame flicked along his features, caressing into the shadows like a lover. Then it happened. Flickering flame caught the golden deep of his eyes. Then it happened. Flickering flame caught the golden deep of his irises, touching the supernatural doors to his soul, if he had one. I exhaled the breath I'd been holding, knowing I looked upon the beast of legend, the one who filled our people with fiery nightmares, who stormed across the world and took whatever and whoever he wanted. Dragon, I whispered. Dragon Shifter book. I love myself a good Dragon Shifter book, guys. I'm here for it. I'll eat it up. Yes. Okay, so that ends all of the books that I have purchased recently. Again, minus the ones that are already on my TBR for the month of August. I feel like I didn't need to talk about those again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of a long one, but I had a lot of books to get through and talk about. So, yay! I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!